So, a very good evening to all. Today, I would like to welcome you all to the second masterclass on personal branding. Today, we have with us Professor Dhananjay from the area of marketing. Professor Dhananjay Singh is a faculty in marketing at IMG Hyderabad. He teaches marketing management, brand management, personal branding, sales, channel management, and strategic management. Professor Dhananjay has 20 plus years of academic experience and loves teaching, training, consulting, and research. Conducting student development and executive development programs is his passion. He has conducted executive development programs on leadership, personal effectiveness, sales effectiveness, channel management, self management, managing diversity at workplace for the working executive at RBI, Ramki, Royal Audit, Authority of Bhutan, TS Janko, GSK, and Saudi German Hospital, Jeddah. I welcome you, Professor, to the session. I am sure your session student will have an answer to the question, how can personal branding lead you to success? I would like to request you to take over the session. Over to you, Professor.
So thank you, Divya. Thanks a lot for your warm introduction. And let me welcome all the participants, all the people who have joined the session. It is pleasure interacting with you all. So what we will do is, I'll first share my views on what is personal branding. And then in the last maybe 10 odd minutes, we'll open up for your Q&A. But as the session goes, kindly keep posting your queries in the chat so that when I start answering or taking up your queries, I'm able to address your questions, and you would gain a lot based on the questions that you have asked and the responses being shared. Fine. So without any further delay, let me start my presentation by sharing with you my PPT. I just wanted to have a quick confirmation from Divya. Divya, can you see the slide, personal branding, positioning yourself to success?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Right. So the session is personal branding, and I believe personal branding, if you can understand it well and you can implement it well, it can actually help you in positioning yourself or leading you to success, because primarily personal branding is all about your understanding of self as a brand. Now we will have greater clarity in terms of what I mean by understanding of self as a brand. How do I brand myself? Some people may ask this question, ki, am I a product or am a service that I need to be branded? But as we go ahead, you'll understand that you are more than a product. Your value is more than a service, right? So what we'll do is, see, I mean, we all think of corporations, enterprises, companies, and we think of Google, we think of Facebook. IMT Hyderabad as an enterprise, maybe I am Ahmedabad as an enterprise. So there are so many things that we think of. But have you ever thought of you yourself as an incorporation? How about this thought? Me incorporated. And you need to think of you about yourself because you are the most valuable incorporation. I mean, I can always work on creating brands out of goods, out of services, out of ideas, out of companies, out of corporations. But why not first think of creating me as a brand? So the central theme of this session is going to be on the basic understanding of you as a brand. Therefore, I'm saying start appreciating and start building on this enterprise, which is me incorporated. And what we will do in this session is, we will try to understand how can I become the head marketer of brand called you, me, and how can I become the CEO of my own career. See, becoming chief executive officer of a company is no doubt a very lucrative position. But what can be more lucrative and more rewarding than becoming the CEO of your own career? and gaining a lot from that. So what we are going to do in this session is we are going to first understand what is a brand, right? Then we will try to understand why brands really matter, why there is so much of fascination around brands, and we will understand that with very interesting examples. Then we will try to understand or see the journey that brands take in the process of becoming human, because only when that happens, the whole premise of personal branding comes in the picture. Then we will ask this question to ourselves: can a person, can I, can you become a brand? And finally, we will end the session by understanding certain steps or certain things that you need to do so that we can build our personal brand. So what are the different ways to build your personal brand, right? So these are the discussion points. First, let us try to understand what is a brand and why do brands matter. Okay. Now, what you see in front of you is some names, right? You see names like Coca-Cola, Amazon, Maruti, Tata Salt, Fair and Handsome, right? Now, I have a question for the people who are attending this session, and your responses could be in the chat. First, listen to my question and then you can respond in the chat. What are they and what do they stand for? So first, let us talk about Fair and Handsome. According to you, what is Fair and Handsome and what does it stand for according to you? Whatever response comes to you in the chat, guys. When I say Fair and Handsome, does something come to your mind? Sakshi says fairness cream for men. Okay. So when I say Fair and Handsome, the immediate identity that comes to your mind is it's a fairness cream. Parul is saying it's a beauty product. Arnab says it is just a product, right? But it stands for something. In the same way, if I ask what is Coca-Cola to you, what will you say? What comes to your mind when I say Coca-Cola? What does Coca-Cola stand for you? Parul says beverage. Supratim, I don't know what he says when he says summer. Sakshi says beverage. Amog, cold drink. Dipanshu says brand name. Vedanti's, her response is it's a soft drink, right? Brand selling beverages. Okay, great. So on the basis of the responses I have got in the chat, let me conclude that we are all thinking of these things as some identity, and these identities stand for something. When I say Maruti Suzuki, it's an identity for budget friendly car. When I say Tata Salt, it's an identity for Desh Ka Namak, because that is the premise on which they have built their value proposition, right? When I say Fair and Handsome, it is not only a beauty product or a grooming product for men, it is, as the ad says, the identity for Mardo Wali cream, which means it is very clearly defining the premise that there has to be a different cream for men and a different cream for women, those who want to become fair. But what is the hard reality of life? I cannot become fair than what I am, and my skin color cannot change from what God has made me or what color complexion God has given to me. But still, driven by the great emotional appeal of brands around us, people are investing millions and millions of rupees trying to look good in the hope of becoming fair, because Fair and Handsome says the same thing. You have a Shah Rukh Khan coming and telling you that Mardo Wali cream, and you start applying that. And not only that, Fair and Handsome comes out with a fairness meter. It says you can apply the fairness meter and actually check how much fair you have become, right? But what is very clear is all these things stand for something. They are identified with something, and that something comes with the name of Coca-Cola, Amazon, Maruti Suzuki, Tata Salt, and Imami Fair and Handsome. So after having made that point, if I have to draw a common point between all this, I would say all these are brands. So when I'm saying all these are brands, somebody can ask me, so then what is the definition of a brand? So let me first share with you what is a brand. Brand is an identity of a specific product, service, or business. Specific, right? And each of these specific product, service, or business stands for something. If you are not standing for some value, or if you are lacking that value, then that name that you carry is meaningless. So Dhananjay Singh should stand for something. Nitya Shri should stand for something. Parul has got to stand for something. You need to build your reputation, right? So when I say what is a brand, in simple terms, brand is an identity. And since we are all management students and we are going to get into academics, also understand that American Marketing Association defines brand as a name, term, sign, symbol, so on and so forth. But essentially all these things are pointing to one thing. They are all trying to create a differentiation between one seller and another seller. That is again about identity. Most importantly, when I say brand, it's a sum total of some psychological aspects and some experiential aspect. Brand is not just about some value. Brand is about the experiences that people have by using that particular value. Right? See, when I say the top business school in India, where you can have a great specialization in HR, probably most of you will think of XLRI Jamshedpur. And some of you may also think of Symbiosis Pune. But when you are thinking of these names, have you ever bothered to know why does this name come to my mind? Because over a period of time, you would have experienced things with respect to XLRI, whereby it has been proved, it has become known that XLRI is a brand to be reckoned in the field of preparing students for executive roles in HR. There has been lot of work around it, and that is what I have experienced. So brand is a sum total of your psychological aspects, but most importantly, your experiential aspects. You know, that is why when somebody talks to me and he says, I'll help you in branding, I do not like that statement, because you cannot help me to brand myself. You can help me in communicating my value premise. But what value I am or what is my value should be known by me. I should cherish that value. First, I should value that value, only then others will value. I hope you guys are getting that point, right? So please understand that brand is an identity which is getting created because of the thoughts, perceptions, and images people have about you on the basis of what they have experienced with respect to you. For example, when I say Shah Rukh Khan, you must have experienced so many things with respect to Shah Rukh Khan through his movies. Right. So this is what is brand. Okay. Now, having experience or having understood what a brand is, let's move on and try to understand why brands really matter. Why all of us are fascinated with brands, right? Like when I say Amul, the taste of India, there is some identity around it. So end of the day, why do brands really matter? Why are we obsessed with brands? Now, three very, very important points, guys. In fact, when you join the courses and you start studying marketing, you'll have a greater understanding of this. But for the time being, please understand that, see, we are living in a world where there are a lot of choices. You take a product category and there are multiple options available to you. There are multiple options available to you, right? And from those options, from those different things available to you, you are going to pick one which appeals to you. Now, if I am one among so many options, and if I am not having an identity, I may not stand a very good chance of being picked up by the consumer. So what I need to do is, I need to create an identity. And when I create an identity, people start associating their need with that identity. Like, if I talk about air conditioners, and in my mind there is this thought of all weather AC. The moment that idea of all weather AC comes, because of what I have seen, what I have heard, what I have felt with respect to a brand called Voltas, that name crops up top in my mind, because that is what I have heard about Voltas. Maybe this name may not come to somebody else's mind because of what they have seen or they have heard about the brand. So many air conditioners are there. What should Voltas do whereby when somebody thinks of air conditioner, their name should come at the top? Because only when your name comes up at the top, you will be considered. And only when you are considered, I'll think of buying you or endorsing you. So guys, please understand that in a world where there are so many choices, brands are going to be your most valuable assets. Because end of the day, brand is a promise. Brand is assurance. Brand is a signal of quality. Brand is a symbolic device. Most importantly, brand is risk reducer. We pay premium because that particular name, which goes by the point called brand, is going to help me in mitigating my risk. I don't know how many of you are aware, in Rishikesh, there is a bungee jumping point. People go to Rishikesh to attempt that particular jump. You know why? Because there is a reputation that out of so many bungee jumps that have taken place in Rishikesh, there has not even been a single failure. Because that bungee jumping point is being managed by a group of adventure enthusiasts from New Zealand. And New Zealand is known as the Mecca of extreme sports. So that is giving me the assurance. Therefore, I go and take up the jump there. Tomorrow, let's say in Khargaon in Madhya Pradesh, somebody starts a bungee jump. Will I go and take that jump even if I am getting the chance to do it at half the rate? The answer is no. Because I may take the jump and God knows I may not come back. Why take that jump? But I don't mind taking that jump at, if I'm an adventure enthusiast, I do not mind taking the jump at Rishikesh, because there is a guarantee, there is an assurance. There is somebody who is giving me that guarantee, and this assurance and this guarantee is your brand. That is your value, for which you will be paying a premium, which is worthwhile, which is justified, right? Moving on. Just to emphasize the importance of brand, guys, Fortune magazine had come out with this very interesting quotation on brand. They said, if Coca-Cola lost everything except the formula, you know, Coke has got the magic formula and its brand name, it can go into any bank in the world and get 100 billion loan to start from the scratch. वो हिंदी में एक कहावत है जिसको कहते हैं हम, आपके नाम का वैल्यू है, नाम बिकता है. इट इज अबाउट दिस. आपके नाम का वैल्यू है, आपका नाम बिकता है. सो कोका कोला नेम, दैट फॉर्मूला has got so much power that if all things connected to Coca-Cola get burnt, still banks will give them $100 billion loan. That is the power of brand. That should become the power of students when they join the campus in their respective programs, in their respective specializations. So when a faculty is thinking of somebody in the area of business analytics, somebody's name should come to the faculty's mind. That is branding. And you should not just try to make a easy way option of being there. You should work towards getting that reputation, right? Moving on, just to explain this particular point in more emphatic way, talking about the power of brands. If I ask you between coconut water and Coca-Cola, which is more healthier, what would be your answer? I think I need not ask you. Most of you will end up saying that it is coconut water. Correct? Between coconut water and Coca-Cola, the more healthier option is coconut water, right? No rocket science there. Now, what sells more and has got higher value? Hands down, Coca-Cola sells more. Coconut water does not sell more. And if I look at the brand value, coconut water does not even come in comparison. Now, just look at the point. Coconut water, which is so very good for health, in its original form, is less valuable than a bottle of Coke, which may be more harmful to my body. You know why? Because when I buy Coke, I'm not buying a bottle of beverage. When I buy Coke, I'm buying happiness, because Coke has been communicating the value premise that जब आप Coke की bottle खोलोगे तो आप happiness open करोगे. So a bottle of Coke is reminiscent with happiness. Now let's look at another context. Suppose a group of students who are attending this particular session have become very good friends. They are from the same city, and at the end of the session they would like to have a party. So when you guys start thinking of party and you start planning for the party and you want to have beverage, drinks and all, what do you get? You will be planning and saying, yeah, you get me 2 bottles of Coke, I'll get some chips, I'll get some snacks, I'll get some beverages, and we'll have a great party. Have you ever seen a party where somebody has said, I'll bring 2 bottles of coconut water? Knowing very well that those 2 bottles of coconut water any day will be more healthier than Coca-Cola. कभी नहीं होता ऐसा. In fact, on the contrary, what may happen is, the guy who says that I'll bring 2 bottles of coconut water will be branded by others as पागल आदमी. यार इसको पता नहीं है पार्टी कैसी होती है. क्या पार्टी में कोई कोकोनट वाटर लेके आ सकता है? बट भाई उसमें गलती क्या है? Is it not more healthier? It is. Is it not more beneficial? It is. But then why is there no value around it? Because it has not been branded. Now let us see how the game changes when it gets branded. So the same coconut water, you bring value addition. Now you may ask me, what is this value addition? I'll give it a name. I'll pack it. I'll give it a nice packaging. It will be available in so many retail outlets. There'll be some funky name around it. You can drink it whenever you want. You need not go to that coconut vendor to catch the coconut in your hand and then drink it. You can easily carry it wherever you want. You can have it whenever you want. So the moment I bring all this value addition and create a brand called Paper Boat or Country Delight or any other name, it becomes a great value. It becomes a great brand. So when I say brand is about that value addition. The same coconut water, the moment it takes the shape of Paper Boat coconut water, the value of coconut water has gone up. This is the value, this is the beauty of branding. I hope you guys are absolutely understanding and clearly understanding what is brand and what is the value of brand, right? Now, having done that, I'm little bit fast, keeping in mind the time that we have, right? But in the end, last 10 minutes, we will take up all your questions, all your doubts. Okay. So far what we have done is we have understood what is a brand. Then we have understood why do brands matter. And now we have just understood what is the power of a brand. Now let's move on and try to understand, can a person become a brand? And what is the need for a person to become a brand? Okay, so let us try to understand this. Now guys, there are two authors, Kotler and Levy. They are great marketing professors. Now these two guys have said that personal marketing has always been a very inherent human activity. Nobody needs to teach it to us. That has been part and parcel of our system. You know why I'm saying that? Has anybody taught an employee how do you go and impress your boss? But you do it, it comes automatically to you. Has anybody taught a political leader how do you win the support of public? But they do it. And I don't think anybody ever teaches a boy or girl how to propose or how to woo a boy or girl. You do it because as human beings we are psyched. We are inherently enabled to market ourselves. That's by nature. That is point number one. We are trying to understand, can person become a brand? Okay. So first point is human beings, marketing is an endemic activity. Point number two, over a period of time, we have learned to compete on the basis of skills and qualifications. What do you meaning of that? For somebody to get an admission at IMT Hyderabad, if your CMAT percentile is 89.9, you may not get the offer. Your CMAT percentile is 90, you get the offer. Thereby, the institution is communicating something to its audience. So, we as human beings over a period of time have learned to compete on the basis of our skills and qualifications. Colleges come out with notifications for admissions. Delhi University, Hindu College of Commerce, students with less than 96 percentile cannot even apply. That automatically uplifts the value of Hindu College, right? So if I have to join a Hindu College, I have to have that kind of a cutoff. So it's our nature to compete on the basis of our skills and qualifications. That's point number two. And point number three, where personal branding now comes in the picture, is because there is so much competition in the market and that competition demands that we as human beings stand out or become distinct because of something that we have, some expertise that we have, some uniqueness we have. This is where personal branding comes in the picture. So there must be around 200 plus students joining IMT Hyderabad campus. And all these 200 people will be competing for jobs, will be competing for academic activities, will be competing for club activities. All these people will be competing. In that competition, I need to find my niche and become good in that area so that people think of me when they think of that area. That is what personal branding is. No rocket science. Very simple understanding of facts, right? So you see how the thing has come. We are naturally trained to market ourselves. Point number one. We have learned to compete on the basis of skills and qualifications. Point number two. And because there is so much competition, there is a need on part of human being to stand out. And you need to stand out with your uniqueness or with your expertise. And that is what personal branding is all about. Okay. Now, just to give you a context of what I'm discussing, I'm going to share with you some 5-6 questions. Just post your responses in the chat. I'll not give you more than 30 seconds and I'll not even read out your responses. But try to give your responses in the chat. Okay. Who comes to your mind when I say Captain Cool of Indian cricket team? Okay. So I see so many responses and I thank all the people who have responded. Okay. I'm not saying whether it's right answer or wrong answer, but I'm sure you remember your responses. Fine. Okay. Next. This may be a bit difficult because this is region specific, but those who are from Hyderabad or who know Telugu cinema would be able to answer this. Who comes to your mind when I say mass Maharaja of Telugu cinema? Okay, so I'm getting so many responses. In fact, I have to read this response of Parul. Parul says Rajinikanth. Parul, Rajinikanth is of Tamil cinema, not of Telugu cinema. Okay. Anyhow, so again, there are so many responses. Fine. Zarina of Indian television. When I say Zarina, I mean Queen of Indian television. Who is referred as the Queen of Indian television? Who has transformed the Indian television? The viewing of prime time television. Okay. Again, I have got responses. Interesting answers. Whoever has given the answer is Tabu. I think you need to think again. Tabu has never been on Indian television. But yes, I have got some responses. Okay. I think I've got another 2 or 3 questions. King of romance in Bollywood. Who comes to your mind when I say this? My God. Okay, awesome. Very good. Okay, fine. Right. Let's move on. डैश है तो मुमकिन है. डैश है तो मुमकिन है. With what would you fill that particular blank? And finally, who comes to your mind when you hear the term Pappu of Indian politics? Right? So guys, you remember your responses, right? And there must be also some reason behind giving those responses. Now let me share with you 3 very interesting, I would say, small situation caselets to make you understand what is personal branding in this and why you thought of those names. Okay. First, let us look at Captain Cool of Indian cricket team. All of you said the answer is Mahendra Singh Dhoni. You did not say Kapil Dev, you did not say Sunil Gavaskar, you did not even talk about Anil Kumble, you did not talk about Virat Kohli, there was no mention of Saurav Ganguly. All of you said Captain Cool, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Why did you all say that? Now these are the reasons which make Dhoni as Captain Cool, which means this personal branding of Captain Cool with MS Dhoni is a result of Dhoni consciously working on all these things and getting that image. This is personal branding. So what has Dhoni done? What has Dhoni done? India won the inaugural T20 International World Cup in South Africa and One Day International World Cup in India under his captaincy. Point number 1, unprecedented. Dhoni over a period of time has cultivated the image of handling tough situations as a captain, and he always approaches the game with lot of calmness. At least I have never seen Dhoni getting animated. Virat Kohli is always animated, whether there is a reason or there is not a reason. That is Virat Kohli, this is Dhoni. Then Dhoni has successfully taken the team to victory by performing consistently in the death overs. And Dhoni has been a great motivator for so many players to perform better than what they are without becoming aggressive. And this is the reason why the moment I say Captain Cool of Indian cricket team, Dhoni's image comes to your mind. Okay. So branding does not happen automatically. You need to work towards it. Dhoni's strength is he is calm. Dhoni has used that particular strength to his advantage to cultivate this image. Let's look at the second caselet. I said dash hai to mumkin hai, and I saw most of you given the answer as Modi. There were some very unique answers which I cannot read, but most of you gave the answer as Modi. Now again here we need to understand ki why did that particular answer come to your mind? Because this statement Modi hai to mumkin hai was not given by me or not given by you. This was given by an American diplomat on the basis of what he had seen of Modi over some 3-4 years. But when I say Modi hai to mumkin hai, I'm talking about decisive leadership. Don't you think by doing all this thing, Modi has strongly built that image and captivated the people with that kind of an imagery? See, after he has become the Prime Minister, Article 370 is gone. Ram Temple construction has started. There has been the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act. The Triple Talaq Bill has been passed. India has withstood the face-off with China in Galwan and Doklam. There have been surgical and airstrikes. India has emerged as a strong nation because of the vaccine diplomacy. And most importantly, on a very important metric called elections. After Modi has become the Prime Minister or the leader of BJP, BJP has been consistently winning elections. So is there anything wrong in saying Modi hai to mumkin hai? Even if I'm a die-hard, probably I can say somebody opposed to Modi, I cannot deny these facts. Because of this, Modi has got that particular image. And finally, let me look at the third caselet. When I showed this particular, or when I asked that particular line, most of you said Rahul Gandhi. Again, I try to understand why this name came to your mind. This is also personal branding. But why did this name come to your mind? Because see, he is more qualified than Narendra Modi. He is more educated than Narendra Modi. He has got a better lineage in terms of highly educated parents coming from the first political family of India. Then why should we think of him as a pappu? Again, there is a reason there. And the reasons are, there are many reasons. I'll just share with you 2 reasons there. So in Indian Parliament, I think about 2-3 years back, there was a debate going on. Rahul Gandhi walked from the opposition bench to the treasury bench and went and hugged the Prime Minister Modi. When I saw this, I thought Rahul Gandhi has today arrived as a politician and there is going to be a serious challenge to Modi. Because please understand, politics is not about agitating with people. Politics is about your agenda and you standing for that agenda, right? And fighting tooth and nail for that agenda. So when Rahul did this, I thought Rahul has become a very matured politician. But then Rahul being Rahul, in the same parliament, on the same day, he went back to his seat and did this. Right? After Rahul did this, next day, the press was covered with so many articles, news and all. But what I saw on internet was memes like this. He was being compared to a Malayalam actress Priya Warrior. And the question being asked on internet or poll being done was, who wigged better? Was it Priya Warrior or Rahul Gandhi? Now, do you see any scope of Rahul Gandhi being perceived as a serious politician who stands for his agenda? Probably no. So whatever image I showed you about Dhoni or in Narendra Modi or Rahul Gandhi is their own doing. I would like most of the participants attending this class to develop an imagery like Dhoni, like Modi, like Shah Rukh Khan, so that people associate you with some value premise. You do not become confused like Rahul Gandhi, right? His mind is somewhere else, his heart is somewhere else, he's trying to do something, he's being perceived as something. There is a lot of confusion. Okay? And guys, one more thing, whatever examples I have shared with you, it is not because I like them or I dislike them. I've only shared these examples to explain the concept of what is personal branding. Okay? Let's move on. Maybe another 5-10 minutes before I close the session and take up all your questions. Okay? So what is personal branding? Having discussed so much, see, there was a gentleman called Tom Peters. He coined this term personal branding in the year 1995. And Tom Peters says that personal branding means any powerful, clear, positive idea that comes to your mind when people think of you. That is personal branding. What you stand for, what is your value, what are your abilities that people associate with you. Like when I say helicopter shot, MS Dhoni image comes to your mind. Again in cricket, if I say scoop, Tilak Ratne, Dilshan's name comes to your mind. Because those abilities you are linking with that particular individual. And personal branding is also the sum total of your attributes and your reputation, right? But the interesting aspect about personal branding is, or the reality of personal branding is, you already have a personal brand. Whether you like it, you don't like it, whether you know it or you don't know it, the reality of personal branding is you already have a personal brand. Now, what is that personal brand? The image that people have about you. Now, there is an IMT Hyderabad 2022-24 group where most of you are posting your queries and your queries are being answered to. Guys, let me tell you, on the basis of the queries you are posting, people who are in the group and people who are responding in the group will start developing some kind of an image about you. Whether the image is the way you want or the image is different than what you want, that's a different case. But people will have some image about you because they are seeing you posting certain thing. On the basis of that, I am drawing some conclusion about you. So the fact of the matter is, all of us have a personal brand. I also have some image in your mind. And I am also trying to have some image about you. So we all have some personal brand, because when we meet people, we talk to them, we interact with them, we share messages on LinkedIn, we post messages on WhatsApp, we are active on Facebook. So what we like, what we forward, what we share, what we post, what are the kind of posts we have, all these things come together to create an image about us. Therefore, we have to be very conscious in what we write, what we post, what we share, what we like, what we endorse and what we don't endorse on a social or public platform. And end of the day, personal branding is trying to fill the gap between who am I versus how I want to be perceived. Right? I believe that I am very good in certain things, but the world does not think like that. That means there is a gap. I need to bridge that gap, because only when I bridge the gap, my real brand will stand out. And who is responsible to do that? It is you. It is me. If there is a distortion in image, I am responsible for that distortion. On the basis of what I have said, what has been communicated, what people have learned, what people have noticed about me. Okay, moving on. The subject called personal branding, guys, has become very, very important, because now there is greater focus on career distinction. We all need to be known for something. And because we need to have the distinction, because we need to beat competition, there is a need on our part to become the head marketer for self. And who is saying this? The gentleman who created the word personal branding. See, there used to be a time when people used to say, yeah, your job is to only do good things. Don't bother what people think about you. Your job is to just do good things, and other things will fall in place. उसके साथ एक हिंदी में कहावत भी होता था, नेकी करो और दरिया में डालो, आपको बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. But today we are in a time where I would tell all my people or all my students that अगर आप नेकी कर रहे हो तो दुनिया को बताओ, अगर आप नहीं बता रहे हो तो आप एक बहुत ही गलत काम कर रहे हो. Because unless until you tell people in this over communicated society, people will not come to know about you. But साथ ही साथ you should not do the other thing. आपने किया कुछ नहीं बट बिना मतलब का आप बाजा बजा रहे हो. That will not work for you. Right? So to be successful, guys, you have some strengths, some qualities. Learn to market them. As simple as that. And whatever is your area of expertise, whatever. Now we are all going to become management students. Somebody will be good in marketing, somebody will be good in finance, somebody in accounting, somebody in economics, somebody in quantitative abilities, somebody will be good in Excel, somebody will be in PowerPoint. Whatever is your expertise, try to leverage that expertise in a particular field and make people associate you with that particular strength, so that your expertise is noted in that field, right? That is what personal branding is all about. Now, finally, I will end my presentation by sharing with you some tips to build your personal brand. But after you join the campus, we will cover a small part of that in marketing. But other than that, we are going to have two courses, a course on brand management and a workshop on personal branding. Well, these things will be covered in detail in an exhaustive workshop course. But since we are talking about personal branding, let me quickly share with you the things that you need to do, because I already see it's 8:18. I need to quickly close to answer some of your questions. What I need to do to build my brand? First and foremost, do not copy and imitate others. Be authentic and be compelling to your target market. Your target market should get excited to listen to you. Your target market should be interested in talking to you, whether they are your employers or they your friends or they your faculty members. Whichever occasion you are in, wherever you are, you need to be authentic and you need to be compelling. Point number one. Point number two, learn to be loyal to self and then try to be loyal to others. So what is the meaning of being loyal to self? Honor what you commit, because consistency is the key. One big reason for Rahul Gandhi being perceived the way you all said is he is inconsistent. He is consistently inconsistent. And that is a big problem in personal branding, right? Make yourself visible. नेकी कर, लोगों को बता. MS Excel आपका अच्छा है, लोगों को बताओ. अकाउंटिंग अच्छी तरह से आती है, फैकल्टी को बताओ. Let people know. Have demonstrated experiences, right? Learn to influence. Build and manage network. अभी जो आपका ग्रुप बना है ना, that's a network. How you ask questions, what you ask questions, what responses you get, what responses you share, people start developing some image about you that they are going to carry to the campus. So learn to influence and build your network, but most importantly, make judicious use of social media. Just because social media आपके हाथ में है, आपके पास है, do not just keep posting whatever comes to your mind, because every post that you create, you are creating a mark which is going to be watched and you're going to be held responsible for it. I have never understood why people post on social media, Facebook, Mama, I have reached Hyderabad airport. I have taken the flight to Delhi. I am going to land up in Delhi. I am traveling from Delhi to come to your place. On the way, waiting to be with you, loving to be with you. I mean, if you do not post this, will your mother not be very receptive to accepting or welcoming you? What do you get by posting these kind of personalized messages on social media? Because the very fact of social media is it is social in nature. How about posting, let's say you wrote a very interesting article, the article was carried on shiksha.com, maybe you share the link of that article on your social media post on your Instagram, you participated in some competition, you got a participation certificate, why don't you post a photo of that, right? These likes, these dislikes are going to take you very far. So these are certain things you can do to build your personal brand. In the end, if I have to share with you a success mantra for personal branding, the mantra is all of us have got some core USPs. Please understand that USP in the context of management education and communicate that USP to the target audience. Your personal brand has been made. The core premise of personal branding is fit in but stand out. And I'll end my presentation with a very interesting quote which has been given by Jeff Bezos. Branding or personal branding is what people say about you when you are not in the room. आपके सामने तो कोई भी आपकी तारीफ करेगा, आपके एब्सेंस में आपके बारे में अगर कोई कुछ बता रहा है, कोई कुछ कह रहा है, and if that is of some meaning to the people who are there, then your brand is there, right? Like Dhoni was not there, but when I said Captain Cool, all of us said Dhoni. Shah Rukh Khan was not there. When I said King of Romance, all of us said Shah Rukh Khan. Rahul Gandhi was not there, but when I said XYZ, all of us said the same thing, right? So let us work towards building a reputation of which we can be proud of. That is all that I wanted to share as far as the topic personal branding was concerned. Now, if you have any questions, guys, you can post it in the chat and I'll be more than happy to respond to those questions. Any questions that you have, you can even unmute and ask your questions. Can I close the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me stop sharing the PPT and then see if there are any questions. Anything, any doubts? Do not ask me questions regarding the things that you normally post in the group. For that, the group will be responding. Any questions with respect to the discussion that we had? We'll wait for another 20 seconds. And if there are no more questions, probably I would assume that either you have understood everything or Ishita Chaudhary is asking a question where she says, can you tell us about the competition? Okay. So Ishita, we will share with you about the competition. Just give me a minute because there is a question from Supratim. Can personal branding change while bridging the gap between what you are and how you are being perceived? And how do I identify the target audience? Okay, Supratim, this is a very good question, Supratim. So your question is, you believe there is a gap between what you are and how you are being perceived. See, the first thing is you have a brand, you have a personal brand. That is the fact of the matter. But the personal brand that people have about you is not right according to you. So do you need to change that? The answer is yes, because you are something else, you are being perceived as something else. So there is some kind of a confusion about you. जैसे क्या होता है ना, कभी कभी when friends meet, when strangers meet, let's say after 2-3 days the people get talking and then they say, yeah, when I saw you, I thought you are a very tough taskmaster and very difficult to talk to, not very easily amenable. But then after I met you, I found you are a great person and a great company to be. So that means there was some problem from your side. Your body language, the way you were communicating, the way you were saying things was probably putting people off. There is a gap. But actually आप काफी अच्छे आदमी हैं. आप लोगों से मिलना चाहते हैं, बात करना चाहते हैं, पर जिस तरीके से आप बिहेव करते हो, दैट डज नॉट अट्रैक्ट पीपल टू यू. सो व्हाट डू यू नीड टू डू नाउ? You need to work on your gestures, postures, body language, so that people start accepting you the way you are, right? So there is bound to be a gap. The gap could be because of over communication, because of under communication, or because you have not understood your USP. आपको खुद भी पता नहीं है कि आपका स्ट्रेंथ क्या है. Atul Jha is saying, why should we associate our brands with other strong brands? See, Atul, I did not ask in my presentation to associate yourself with other strong brands, but probably I can answer this question this way. See, there's nothing wrong in looking at strong brands and trying to understand what all things they have done to become great brands. And I'll tell you the USP of all great brands. All great brands do 4 things. First, they answer the question who they are, who am I. Then they answer the question for whom am I relevant. Then they answer the question in terms of the relationship between who you are and why you want to be relevant. And finally, they work on the relationship. All great brands do the same thing. So if there is a great brand and it has done all these things, and if I can look at that brand and try to imbibe some of the qualities, what's wrong in doing it? I can do that, right? Okay. So that is why we can associate ourselves with strong brands to learn the best practices of strong brands. Fine. Any other question? Maybe in the end I'll answer the question which was posed by Ishita regarding the competition. Okay, somebody who has got the login name as Redmi says, how much PR influences branding? So branding is a sum total of your different communication channels, right? There could be advertising, there could be sales promotion, there could be PR. So your question is, does PR play a role in branding? The answer is yes. And if you want to understand this, just ask celebrities, whether it is Shah Rukh Khan or it is Priyanka Chopra or it is Deepika Padukone or people walking at the canes and all that, they have got a team of PR who guide them and tell them what has to go in the press, what should not go in the press, what can be a good publicity, what is not, what is to be avoided, what should not be avoided, what should be deliberately leaked to the press, what should not be leaked to the press. So yes, PR certainly plays a role in branding, personal branding, especially if you are a celebrity. But for people like you and me, we can do our own PR, or we can use the social media platform as our PR network, right? You can underline this point. You can use your social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook as great tools of doing very good PR about self, right? Any other question, guys? Anybody else? I only hope that the session has been meaningful and you guys have imbibed and learned certain things that you are going to apply to self. And that was my whole intention behind organizing and conducting the session. Right, so I don't see any more questions. And thank you, Parul. Okay, there is one more. Probably I can take this and then go to the question that Ishita had asked, the point that Ishita had raised. Sir, should we focus on visibility more than on ability? This question is coming from Nandu. Nandu, my answer would be you should focus on using your abilities, doing certain things, using those abilities, and then also creating visibility around it, right? Do not just try to work on visibility. Just visibility in the absence of any concrete action will become a propaganda, and propaganda does not go far. So let us not work on propaganda. Let us work on some very positive things and communicate those positive things to other, right? Just propaganda will not take you anywhere, and very soon you'll be out of the race. I hope I have answered your question, Nandu. Any other question, guys? Anybody else? Okay. Now, Ishita had this question ki, can I tell her about the competition, about that economic times? Okay. So let me answer this. Ishita, we have thought about it and we are going to even organize that competition. But I need to, or when I say the point needs to be discussed with the committee. So this point is going to be shared with the committee. The committee is going to discuss it, and then we are going to formally announce the competition. Okay. But whether the competition is going to happen or not, let me guarantee you 99% competition will happen, right? Even if there is no competition, the fact that you guys are joining a management program, understanding, appreciating and synthesizing business news should be part and parcel of your life. Okay, this will be part and parcel of your life. So whether there is a competition or there is no competition, you should get into the habit of reading Economic Times or any business news on a daily basis, not only by the time you come to the campus, but should continue that habit now, because you are now part of the business ecosystem and you cannot keep yourself away from what is happening in the business ecosystem, because you are going to study the tools, techniques and skill sets to excel in this system. So how can I not be aware of what's happening in the system and do an excellent job? But we will come back to you, or we'll come back with the right communication on the competition through a formal communication to all the students who are joining IMT Hyderabad. Okay. Okay, there is somebody saying, will this session be uploaded online? So I think I'll check with my IT team. Probably they'll be creating some video link of this. And if the video link is created, we will certainly share the link with you. Right? So I think that's it from my side. Thank you all for your participation and your involvement in the session. And I believe the journey for personal branding starts right now. Okay, start working on your strengths, start finding out what all things you can communicate, and the journey of being known for some reputation or journey for standing out starts right now. Okay, all the best and thank you. Divya, you can take over now.
So thank you so much, sir. And thank you for sparing your time and sharing your thoughts on personal branding. I'm sure the students by now have realized the concept of brand called you. And finally, I would like to thanks to all the students from batch 2022-2024 for attending this session. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, and hope to see most of you on campus.